Okay, so for this demo, we're going to talk about value mapping, applying basically a clear division between light and dark. That's going to be the most important, and we can discuss some technique, some tricks to manipulate the values, but that's only of secondary concern. I have my reference here. You can see it in the bottom right, and I'm gonna quickly lay in the sketch using a gestural approach. So not too worried maybe with the exact copying of the proportions, etc., but getting the figure down. We see a nice gesture running all the way from the shoulder through the torso, following the hind leg, his right leg. We could capture that. So let's put it down quickly. It's a little bit tilted backward here. Maybe I should be a little bit lower on the page. I'm not going to draw too largely. Something like that. And then I can see basically a side view of his torso, and notice that I'm not trying to be too careful or tentative with the lines. I can put in quite some pressure. Of course, I'm not making very dark lines, but enough to show up. Also have to check if it's showing up on the camera. Yes, that's pretty decent. Let's finish this leg. And as you know, with gestures, you don't have to worry about any specifics in the beginning. You can basically come in very abstract, simplified shapes and volumes. His head is tilted quite forward, quite strongly actually, and that's also kind of the direction for his arms. Let's see if we can maybe find that arm first, up to about here, and it's just barely fitting on the page. His forearm, his lower arm, is quite foreshortened actually. So I'm probably gonna have to take note of where the wrist is, maybe indicate some cross-sectional idea to show this foreshortening, and not worried about the likeness or anything, just worried about getting some simple figure down that does what my reference is doing. Simple shape to indicate where I think the hand should be placed, and of course, if I want to change it compared to what my reference is doing, I can. Something like this, maybe indicate where I think the feet are just about going to end up. Maybe it should be a little bit lower on the page, but this is already okay. Now, after this primary gesture, we can specify a bit. I can look for the curve of the spine and the muscular buttocks, the glutes sticking out. Of course, this nice S-curve counterbalancing curve from front of the upper leg to the back of the lower leg, really showing that stretch, that tension. Maybe some extra bulge for the muscles of the leg that's in the back. I like this straight, I'll keep it. Okay, I can worry about the complexities of the muscles. Here's actually his shoulder. I can worry about it just a little bit, at least for the arm in front. But this would already be quite enough to continue to the next phase, which is what we are more interested in this exercise, and that is applying value. So, number one thing to do when applying value is squinting. We have talked about this. A little bit of refinement for this fist. I'll leave the other fist for what it is, but I can always add it later on. So this is a very clear light source, sunlight, very bright, hitting the figure from the top right. It's quite high noon kind of hour, 2 p.m., something like that maybe. We can see that by the short cast shadow. But all of that is irrelevant. What is most relevant is to just squint and see what your eye or your brain groups as part of the dark and what it groups as part of the light. Some areas might be quite ambiguous, like the area here. We can see if we can leave it light for now and add value later on. Some areas are very clearly cast in shadow. His head, we see some nuance and minute areas where the light is just hitting, but remember that this kind of small details, small areas, we don't have to concern ourselves with. We want to keep it simple, plain, obvious. So I'm going to find the edge of shadow over his shoulder, underside of his shoulder. And then we see a large part of the arm, the tricep muscle here, actually cast in shadow. I'm going to cast the whole head in a shadow area. And I definitely want to capture this clear, crisp line coming down the body. His arm casting a shadow on his torso. And let's not worry too much about all the little nooks and crannies and undulations in this shadow shape. Let's capture it quite simply.